Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we try to journey beyond just the headlines, beyond the surface facts.
Right, to really get into the substance.
Exactly. Unearthing that richer understanding that often lies just beneath the surface.
Today, we want to invite you to, well, step back in time with us. Way back.
To an era that feels very different from ours.
Immensely different. A time where human life, honestly, it felt incredibly fragile. But at the same time, it was deeply anchored in these ancient, really powerful traditions.
It's a fascinating contrast.
Can you picture it? Imagine a child born under that huge silent sky of the Arabian desert. Someone destined, though no one knew it then, to reshape history.
But starting life with profound loss? Personal loss?
Yes. His early years were this complex story woven with threads of really deep protection, but also unexpected challenges and, sadly, repeated sorrow.
It's a powerful mix.
It really is. It's a narrative that explores how a life starting in, well, seemingly humble circumstances, yet also kind of cradled by surprising support, could undergo this profound alchemy, forging an extraordinary character.
Through adversity, like fire, really. So this deep dive, we're focusing solely on those formative early years of Muhammad. We want to meticulously explore the specific circumstances,
A context is everything.
and the relationships, those absolutely crucial relationships, and the challenges, those powerful, almost crucible-like challenges that undeniably shaped him long before his prophetic mission even began.
Yeah, we're looking at the roots.
What we're dissecting today is this unique blend. Vulnerability on one hand, resilience on the other. It's a testament, really, to the human spirit's capacity to endure and even thrive.
And we're drawing this from the rich historical accounts you shared with us.
Our goal is to connect those early dots, those experiences, to the monumental figure he later became.
And our mission today, I think, is to really unpack how these foundational experiences, his birth as an orphan, that unique upbringing in the stark beauty of the desert,
Stark is a good word for it.
and the repeated, really profound losses he endured, how these were far more than just, simple biographical footnotes.
Right, not just bullet points on a timeline.
Exactly. We see them as powerful, pivotal moments that profoundly forged his character, that cultivated his, well, remarkable eloquence.
Which becomes so important later.
Absolutely, and ultimately meticulously prepared him for this extraordinary life, a life that would impact billions.
So we're looking for the how, aren't we?
Yes. We're looking to understand the underlying mechanisms,
Yeah.
the specific ways in which adversity, wow, it's often painful, obviously,
Deeply painful.
can become an incredibly profound teacher, shaping individuals in ways they, or maybe anyone around them, might not immediately recognize as a preparation for greatness.
Absolutely. So get ready. Journey back with us to ancient Mecca. And think of it not just as a city on a map,
No, it's alive, bustling,
a vibrant hub, trade, pilgrimage, those intricate tribal politics.
a real center of gravity for the region.
We'll delve deep into the prevailing customs of the time, the social hierarchies, the economic realities that really dictated so much of daily life back then.
You have to understand the system.
And through this historical lens, we'll discover how a young boy's early life, marked by these profound personal challenges, yet remarkably simultaneously surrounded by incredibly powerful protectors, how this meticulously set the stage
Laid the foundation.
for a man who would ultimately change the destiny of humankind. We'll be looking at how intensely deep personal experiences, often incredibly challenging ones,
The kind that break many people.
can echo and amplify into monumental historical impact, leaving this indelible mark that, it resonates across centuries, across cultures. It's quite extraordinary when you think about it. Okay, let's unpack this journey. Let's start right at the very beginning, the absolute foundations of his life.
Makes sense, where it all began.
We'll begin by examining the challenges he faced, like from the moment he was born, alongside the deeply surprising and unexpected support that emerged almost immediately, like a counterweight.
A crucial counterweight, yes, indeed. Muhammad's birth in Mecca. Now, Mecca was already this city steeped in ancient traditions, a complex, highly stratified social structure.
Hierarchy was key.
Absolutely. And his birth immediately placed him in a situation of, well, profound fragility. His father, Abdullah, had tragically passed away before he was even born.
Which even today is a huge loss.
Of course. But back then, in the tribal society of 6th century Arabia, especially in a place like Mecca, lacking a father meant something far more critical.
More than just emotional loss.
Far more. It meant he was born without an inheritance, without significant material wealth, and most crucially, without a strong, direct male protector.
The shield, essentially.
Exactly. In this patrilineal society, a father was the shield, the provider, the representative in tribal councils. Without him, a child, particularly a male child, was incredibly vulnerable.
Exposed.
Completely. Now, his mother, Amina, she certainly cared for him with immense dignity and love, that's clear from the accounts. But her household wasn't among the wealthy, powerful families of Mecca, not by any stretch.
So his beginnings were simple.
Marked by a striking simplicity, yes. A stark contrast to the opulence and security many of his peers from more established clans would have just taken for granted.
That paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? And to really grasp the profound implications, you have to understand the very fabric of that society.
It's a different worldview.
This wasn't just a personal loss, it was a major societal handicap. In a tribal system, a child without a father lacked that direct line of defense.
No one automatically obligated to stand up for him.
Right. No immediate male kin to avenge wrongs committed against him, no one to advocate for his rights in a dispute, no inherent social standing for him in the public sphere without a powerful, living patron.
He was sort of unanchored socially.
Imagine the societal expectations back then. How this absence of a father and a lack of immediate wealth would have instantly, almost visibly, labeled a child in the eyes of others.
A mark of vulnerability.
It really speaks volumes, then, about the quiet strength and unwavering dignity of his mother, Amina. Navigating such a challenging circumstance, raising her son in a world that, basically from birth, presented him with an uphill battle.
Absolutely. His situation wasn't just about the emotional hole left by a parent. It was about the fundamental absence of an entire social, economic, and protective structure that society, well, it expected and relied upon.
It forces you to think, doesn't it?
It does. How often do we see someone's innate potential initially overlooked or maybe significantly underestimated purely because of their humble beginnings, only for them to absolutely defy those expectations and rise to something truly extraordinary?
Happens all the time.
What unique psychological and practical challenges can this kind of early vulnerability create? That's one side. But conversely, how might it also foster unique strengths?
Like what?
Well, maybe an acute sense of self-reliance, a deeper understanding of hardship, perhaps an inherent empathy for the marginalized. Strength that might never develop in more comfortable, protected circumstances.
Strengths born of necessity.
Perhaps. This initial experience, this foundational vulnerability, it undeniably laid a groundwork for a profound understanding of human struggle and societal dynamics later on.
It truly does make you reflect on how our origins, no matter how challenging or seemingly disadvantaged they might be, can paradoxically become the very soil.
The fertile ground.
Yeah, where our greatest strengths, our deepest compassions, and our most enduring resilience are cultivated. Yeah. And what's remarkable here is that despite this immediate vulnerability, this fragility...
A powerful figure steps in, almost immediately.
Yes, almost as if to provide that crucial counterbalance to this early disadvantage.
Which leads us directly to the towering figure of his grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib.
A huge name in Mecca.
Huge. He wasn't just any respected elder. He was one of the most powerful, wealthy, and influential leaders of the Quraysh tribe, Muhammad's own clan.
So top tier.
Absolutely top tier. Abd al-Muttalib was a man of considerable stature. He was responsible for the wells of Zamzam, providing water to pilgrims, a position of immense prestige and authority.
A very public role.
Very. And when Muhammad was born, it was his grandfather who held him tenderly, reportedly took him to the Kaaba, the central sanctuary in Mecca.
The heart of the city.
And remarkably gave him this rare and profoundly significant name, Muhammad, meaning the praised one.
Which was unusual then.
Quite unusual for the time, yes. Reflecting perhaps a premonition or at least a deep, profound hope for this child's future. But what's truly fascinating here, I think, is the sheer depth and the public nature of his affection.
He wasn't hiding it.
Not at all. The old man loved Muhammad intensely, arguably more than any of his other numerous grandchildren. He would carry the boy with him everywhere he went, a constant presence.
Always by his side.
And during the most important gatherings of the tribal leaders, these were serious political and social councils, right? Where the city's future was discussed, alliances forged.
High-stakes meetings.
Exactly. Abd al-Muttalib would ensure that little Muhammad sat right beside him, often in the place of honor usually reserved for elders.
Wow, a child.
A child. And if anyone, perhaps out of adherence to custom or maybe genuine concern for a child's presence in such a solemn assembly, tried to move him away,
What would happen?
the powerful old man would firmly declare, with his almost prophetic certainty, "Leave him. This boy is special."
That's such an incredibly powerful image, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
To contrast the no wealth, no inheritance we just talked about, that very real societal disadvantage.
The practical reality.
With this place of honor, right beside Mecca's most influential and powerful leaders, this was, wow, far more than just Grandpa showing affection, though his love was clearly abundant.
It was a statement.
A very public, unequivocal declaration of Muhammad's special status and his grandfather's unwavering protection. In a society where family and clan were the primary shield, this public endorsement effectively provided a crucial social and political buffer.
A kind of immunity.
It bestowed upon him this unique kind of dignity, a security that transcended his immediate family's humble circumstances. It shielded him, effectively, from the potential slights, the marginalization, the disadvantages that might otherwise have fallen upon an orphan of limited means.
It was a clear message to everyone. This child is under my direct care. He matters.
Exactly. And this dynamic creates this utterly powerful, maybe even perplexing paradox in his early life.
Two extremes at once.
Think about the profound psychological impact on a young child.
Yeah.
Constantly navigating between the simplicity and comparative modesty of his immediate home life with his mother,
His day-to-day reality.
and then the dignity and power afforded by his grandfather's public endorsement. He was experiencing the daily realities of an orphan, yes, but also the respect and influence that came from being intimately connected to the city's most formidable leader.
An insider and an outsider simultaneously. Precisely. This early experience of being both an outsider in terms of personal wealth and an insider due to his grandfather's immense influence, it might have cultivated a remarkably broad and nuanced perspective.
Seeing the world from different angles.
He would have seen it from multiple angles, understanding both the struggles of the less fortunate who lacked such protection and the responsibilities, the complexities of leadership and power, fostering a unique empathy, perhaps, and wisdom.
A formative experience, no doubt.
It surely shaped his worldview profoundly, preparing him, maybe unwittingly, to connect with and understand diverse segments of society later on.
You can almost picture it, can't you? This young boy absorbing the nuances of both worlds, watching their powerful elders, but also understanding the lives of ordinary people. So his grandfather's presence provided this incredible bulwark against the world, this unique blend of love and protection.
A vital shield.
But that shield couldn't follow him everywhere, could it? And in fact, another prevalent custom of the time would soon take him to a very different kind of environment, one that would shape him in equally profound and maybe unexpected ways.
That's right. If we step away from the city walls of Mecca now, we encounter this widespread, deeply ingrained custom in Arabia at the time.
What was that?
The practice of sending children, especially infants and young children, out to the surrounding desert, to be raised by foster mothers, often called wet nurses or nannies in modern terms.
Sent away from their families. Why?
It wasn't seen as abandonment. It was deeply rooted in the cultural belief that the desert environment was superior for a child's development.
Superior how?
Well, they believed it offered the purest, most invigorating air, a healthier upbringing away from potential diseases, crowded conditions of the city, and crucially, immersion in the purest form of the Arabic language.
Ah, the language aspect again.
Very important. These foster mothers were often Bedouin, living a more rustic life. And caring for a child, especially from a wealthy city family, was a significant source of income for them.
Ah, so there was an economic side.
Definitely. These families would provide ample food, gifts, or money in return for their services. It was a kind of symbiotic relationship.
This cultural practice really highlights that fascinating interplay, doesn't it? Between cultural ideals, the best upbringing, and just practical economic realities.
Survival, really.
And for little Muhammad, his status as an orphan without a father, well, it presented a very practical, very immediate barrier to participating in this otherwise common and beneficial tradition.
He didn't fit the usual profile.
Most of these foster women, driven by their own family's needs, the pragmatic calculations of survival, they initially hesitated to take him in.
Understandably, perhaps.
They feared a lack of reliable payment, or maybe not enough provision from a household without a wealthy father figure. It's a really poignant, almost heartbreaking scene to imagine.
Him being passed over.
Yeah, him, this young child, being passed over time and again, not because of anything about him, but solely due to the financial constraints of his immediate family.
It really underscores just how deep his family's financial limitations were after his father's death, even impacting access to what was considered a culturally ideal, personally beneficial practice. Precisely. The image described in the sources of many women declining to take him, driven purely by these, well, understandable practical concerns about payment, it provides such a poignant illustration of his initial, almost systemic rejection.
Based purely on circumstance.
It wasn't about him as a person, his inherent worth, just his situation. It's a powerful moment of initial vulnerability that he experienced not just once, but repeatedly.
But things changed.
Yes. It is at this very juncture that compassion intervened, changing his path entirely and setting him on a trajectory that would prove profoundly influential.
And what a pivotal intervention it was. A kind-hearted woman named Halima from the Banu Sad tribe. She was guided not by the promise of wealth, apparently, but by this innate sense of compassion.
And maybe something more, a feeling.
Perhaps even a quiet premonition, yes. She made the choice to take Muhammad. And this decision proved to be a turning point, not just for him, but reportedly for her own household as well.
Awesome.
From that moment, blessings were said to fill her home. Her flocks produced more milk, her family found greater prosperity, her life generally improved. It's quite a story.
A sign, perhaps.
And in the vast, open expanse of the desert, Muhammad truly began to flourish. Physically, emotionally. He grew strong, played freely with his foster brothers, learned practical skills like tending sheep,
Essential skills for that environment.
and breathed that clean, invigorating air of the open land, far from the city's confines.
This foster mother's decision, Halima's choice, it was indeed a critical, life-altering moment. It shifted his trajectory from potential neglect or maybe just a less optimal upbringing within the city
To something much better suited.
to a nurturing, robust, and character-building environment. Perfectly suited, perhaps, for a future leader. And those blessings that reportedly followed her act of altruism, they powerfully illustrate the profound impact of a compassionate choice, not just for the recipient, but for the giver, too.
A ripple effect.
Beyond the sheer physical invigoration, the desert life provided incredibly practical skills like tending sheep. Now, this wasn't just a pastime. It instilled a deep sense of independence, responsibility.
You have to be observant.
Keen observational ability, absolutely. And an intimate connection to the natural world. Imagine the freedom, the self-reliance gained from that kind of upbringing compared to a more confined, structured city life.
Worlds apart.
This period surely cultivated a foundational resilience, a quiet strength, and a unique perspective on the world, fostering a profound connection to the land and its rhythms.
It's easy to see how that life, tending sheep, far from the city's noise and complexities, would build not just physical strength, but a quiet observational wisdom, a deep understanding of patience, natural cycles.
The shepherd archetype is powerful for a reason.
Exactly. And beyond just physical strength and practical skills, the desert offered Muhammad something else, a unique and invaluable gift.
Yes, the language.
The purest form of language, which would prove absolutely indispensable for his future.
And what's truly fascinating here, and I think often overlooked in its profound significance, is Muhammad's own later statement.
What did he say?
He proudly declared, "I am the most eloquent among you, for I grew up in the desert."
That sounds quite bold.
It does, but it wasn't boasting in a shallow sense. It was more like a profound and accurate explanation of a very specific cultural and linguistic reality of his time.
Okay, explain that.
In Arabia, particularly among the Bedouins, the nomadic tribes living in those vast desert expanses, Arabic was spoken in its purest, most refined, most beautiful form. That was the common understanding.
Purer than in the cities.
Yes. Their language was seen as uninfluenced by foreign words, by the casual slang or the mixing of dialects that often happened in bustling cosmopolitan cities like Mecca.
Where traders brought different influences.
Exactly. Mecca was a melting pot, linguistically too. The desert, however, was seen as preserving the pristine form of the language.
So essentially, growing up in the desert meant he was immersed from his earliest, most impressionable years.
Prime language acquisition time.
In the clearest, most beautiful, and most grammatically correct form of Arabic possible. Now, this was a society where poetry was the highest art form.
Absolutely central. Eloquent speech was prized above almost all else. It was a tool for diplomacy, storytelling, even warfare. Words had immense power.
So it's like a musician learning their craft from the undisputed masters in some isolated village, preserving the purest form of their art. Every nuance, every subtlety.
That's a great analogy. Rather than picking up a more diluted, maybe more urban style that incorporates lots of different, less refined influences.
It wasn't just about learning words then.
No, it's about internalizing the very soul and structure of the language. Its rhythmic flow, its rhetorical power, this linguistic immersion, almost by happenstance of his circumstances.
It was an unparalleled education in communication.
Delivered by the most authentic professors of Arabic imaginable, the Bedouin themselves.
Absolutely. And this skill, this profound command of pure, eloquent Arabic, later became not just useful, but absolutely vital, utterly indispensable for his future mission.
Because of the Quran.
Precisely. The Quran, the central religious text of Islam, was revealed and delivered in the highest form of Arabic eloquence and linguistic perfection. Its unparalleled linguistic beauty, its rhythmic precision, its profound rhetorical power. These are considered among its most profound characteristics. Indeed, a miracle in itself for believers.
So his upbringing was like preparation.
In hindsight, yes. His upbringing in the desert was, in essence, an unwitting but perfectly orchestrated preparation for his future role as the recipient and articulator of divine revelation.
Wow. It's quite something.
It suggests a powerful, almost serendipitous idea that often the skills we develop in our early lives, sometimes seemingly by chance or through circumstances we didn't consciously choose.
They become foundational. They can become instrumental, even foundational, for our greatest purpose and calling. It's an incredible example of how seemingly simple or circumstantial experiences can have monumental, unforeseen consequences that unfold over a lifetime.
That's such a profound insight, isn't it? To think that the very environment he was placed in, almost by chance due to his unique situation as an orphan,
A situation others might have pitied.
was cultivating the perfect tool, this mastery of language for his later world-changing message. It makes you deeply consider, how do our own environments, even the seemingly simple or unremarkable ones, quietly shape our abilities?
And prepare us for paths we can't yet foresee.
What purest forms of skills might each of us inadvertently be cultivating right now without even realizing their profound future significance? However, even this idyllic and clearly profoundly formative period in the desert, he was destined to be followed by yet another loss.
Yes, deeply personal loss. Indeed. Sorrow returned once again, marking another incredibly significant and really poignant turning point in his young life.
How old was he now?
When Muhammad was just 6 years old, a tender, vulnerable age, his beloved mother Amina passed away.
Oh no. Where? How?
They were on the road, actually, returning to Mecca from a visit to his father's relatives in Yathrib, which would later become Medina, a journey that must have already been emotionally significant.
And she died on the way back.
Yes. The sources describe him standing in this heart-wrenching silence at her resting place, experiencing what they vividly called the bitter pain of being fully orphaned.
Fully orphaned, wow.
This second major loss, following his father's passing before his birth, it compounded his early vulnerability, solidified his status as full orphan in the truest, most complete sense.
The detail of him standing in silence, tasting the bitter pain.
It really highlights the profound emotional impact, the deep sorrow this loss must have had on such a young, impressionable child, leaving him utterly alone in terms of immediate parentage.
That's an absolutely heart-wrenching image. To lose both parents at such a tender age, and knowing what that truly meant in the harsh societal context of the time.
Who would protect him now?
Exactly. Who would care for him? But in this moment of profound grief, utter desolation, a crucial, steadfast figure emerged.
Aden.
Yes, a loyal African woman named, Iman. She had served his household, watched over him since birth, loved him, apparently, as genuinely as her own child.
A bond beyond blood.
In that moment of immense loss, she was the one who took his small hand. With immense patience, unwavering devotion, a deep sense of responsibility, she guided him back to Mecca.
Her role here is so important.
It isn't just a footnote, is it? It powerfully underscores the incredible importance of loyal, non-familial support networks in times of crisis, providing much-needed stability, continuous care, a sense of continuity when his young world was again turned completely upside down.
She was his rock, when he had no one else in that immediate sense.
Absolutely.
And these repeated losses, though undeniably tragic, deeply painful for a child, they might have inadvertently instilled in him a profound sense of empathy.
For others who suffered.
For others who suffered, for the marginalized, for those who had also experienced loss. They could have also fostered an early reliance on internal strength, maybe spiritual fortitude.
rather than relying on external circumstances that kept changing.
Exactly. As he continually had to adapt to new and difficult realities. Imagine the depth of feeling, the compassion that might develop in a child experiencing such significant abandonment and loss so early.
It could be a wellspring.
Could very well have been a wellspring for the deep compassion and concern for the vulnerable that would later define his character and his message. And the image of Amen, a loyal servant, stepping so completely, so lovingly into the role of a primary protector.
A powerful testament, isn't it?
To the strength of human connection that can exist far beyond conventional family structures. It highlights the unexpected sources of solace, of unwavering support that can appear in life's darkest moments, demonstrating that care can come from anywhere.
It certainly does. And after this devastating loss, he returned to the comforting embrace of his grandfather in Mecca. Back to that powerful shield we discussed earlier.
Back to Abd al-Muttalib's protection.
That public declaration of his worth and protection. But even this vital solace, crucial as it was destined to be heartbreakingly short-lived.
Tragically, yes. After only 2 short years, which is a mere blink in a child's formative years, his beloved grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, also passed away.
Oh, goodness. So soon after his mother.
Very soon. This sequence of losses, father before birth, mother at 6, now his powerful, protective grandfather at 8 years old, it's incredibly striking, cumulatively devastating.
Unimaginable.
It represents a triple blow to his foundational support system during the most impressionable years of a child's life. He had found such deep comfort in his grandfather's immense love, remember? Being held close, treated not as a child of poverty, but as someone destined for greatness.
That special status.
Yet this comfort, this profound protection, was tragically brief, leaving him once more in profound sorrow, facing an uncertain future without his primary protectors.
It's an immense, almost unfathomable weight for any child to bear. Losing 3 primary protectors, 3 figures of attachment in such quick succession. During his earliest years,
The emotional toll must have been immense.
each loss undoubtedly left an indelible mark. But the sources also consistently tell us that these experiences simultaneously shaped his heart. With extraordinary strength, profound patience, remarkable resilience.
Forged in fire, as you said earlier.
Which raises an incredibly important question for us to ponder. How might such early, profound experiences of loss, coupled with the consistent presence of protective, albeit transient, figures his grandfather, Ayman, his foster mother, Halima,
These anchors, however temporary,
how might that create a unique combination of toughness and compassion within a single individual? Could this relentless series of trials, these repeated moments of profound adaptation, could they be seen not just as suffering, but as a profound, albeit incredibly painful, education and perseverance,
teaching him to find strength within?
even when external supports just crumbled around him?
I believe it absolutely could, and in fact, the historical accounts strongly suggest this very thing. This bittersweet reality being treated not as a child of poverty, but as someone destined for greatness, while simultaneously experiencing recurring, crushing sorrow. It highlights the complex, multi-layered tapestry of his early years.
Not just one thing or the other.
These experiences provided him with a unique blend of understanding, the acute awareness of suffering and vulnerability, the critical necessity of patience in the face of insurmountable odds, and the profound importance of resilience as a path forward.
Lessons learned the hard way.
For you, the listener, consider this. What impact do such early life challenges, these defining moments of hardship, have on an individual's resilience? And crucially, their capacity for empathy later in life?
How does it shape who they become?
How can adversity, while undeniably painful, often devastating in the moment, truly forge an inner strength, a depth of character that becomes an invaluable asset for navigating the world and connecting with others? This pattern of repeated loss, intricately coupled with the consistent presence of loving, protective figures, it seems to have created a truly unique and powerful character.
That's a powerful and deeply human connection to make. These early losses, however, they weren't the only paradox shaping him, were they? His entire upbringing was this constant, intricate negotiation between 2 very different, often contrasting worlds.
Yes, that duality is key.
Which would prove equally formative.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think, as we deep dive into what we've called the paradox of his upbringing.
This constant back and forth. Muhammad truly grew up navigating between 2 distinct, often contrasting worlds. On one hand, there was the humble day-to-day life of an orphan. undeniably lacking in material wealth, lacking those traditional, secure forms of protection that came with a living father, a prosperous family. That was his fundamental reality.
The ground truth of his personal circumstance.
But on the other hand, there was the immense dignity, the public respect, the profound influence of a household led by a powerful and deeply respected elder, his grandfather, one of the foremost leaders in Mecca.
So poverty and prestige side by side.
These two realities weren't just parallel, they intersected. They influenced him constantly.
And this duality, it's a recurring and critically important theme throughout his entire early life. It offered him an education, really, that no single environment could possibly provide.
Learning from both sides.
He experienced firsthand the vulnerabilities that came with poverty and orphanhood. That feeling of being an outsider looking in, maybe. Understanding the struggles of the less fortunate, the daily anxieties of just getting by.
The practical realities.
Yet, simultaneously, he also experienced the security, the deference, the respect, the significant influence that came with being under the direct protection of a prominent figure like Abd al-Muttalib. Even participating in those important tribal gatherings, being seen by the city's elite.
So he saw how power worked, too.
This combination gave him a truly unique perspective on society. He wasn't confined to understanding just one stratum. He saw life from multiple angles, from the bottom up and from the top down, fostering a truly holistic, maybe compassionate view of human society and its inherent complexities.
Understanding power, but also powerlessness.
Exactly. He understood the nuances of power, but also the raw realities of powerlessness.
You can almost imagine him, can't you? Experiencing the comforting embrace, the political influence of his powerful grandfather. Sitting in those high-level discussions of tribal leaders, absorbing the customs, the protocols of the elite.
Learning how that world operated.
And then he would return to the more modest, perhaps simpler, home life. Whether it was with his mother earlier, or his foster family, or later his uncle, where the concerns were more about daily provision, simple routines.
A constant shift in perspective.
This constant, almost fluid shift in environments would have provided him with an incredibly rich, diverse tapestry of experiences, far beyond what any single social class could typically offer.
It suggests that this exposure to both extremes, vulnerability and protection, simplicity and prominence, could have fostered an incredibly balanced worldview.
Preventing him from being just one thing.
One that inherently prevented him from being solely identified with one social class or perspective. This unique upbringing meticulously prepared him, perhaps, to connect deeply and authentically with people from all walks of life, regardless of their status or background.
A crucial skill for a future leader.
Especially one who would unite disparate peoples. Absolutely crucial. Precisely. And this unique blend of experiences, it wasn't merely coincidental. It wasn't just a random collection of biographical facts. The source material strongly, repeatedly suggests it was a profound and ultimately maybe even deliberate preparation.
Preparation for something greater.
For something far, far greater. This constant contrast, this ongoing negotiation between two very different worlds, the serial losses he endured that forged his inner strength, his humble beginnings contrasted with the powerful public protection he received, and that incomparable gift of desert eloquence.
All these different threads.
All of these seemingly disparate elements, these individual threads, collectively prepared him for the extraordinary journey that awaited him. The journey of a man who would fundamentally change the destiny of humankind, uniting Arabia, founding one of the world's great religions.
Okay, let's unpack this further then, because this is the very core of what we're calling the unseen preparation.
How the pieces fit together.
The source material explicitly and beautifully connects his early life directly to his future mission. It suggests that every trial, every moment of care and affection he received, every skill he acquired, it served a larger, overarching purpose.
Nothing was wasted, in a sense.
His profound resilience, honed through repeated, devastating loss, his deep, innate empathy, forged by personally experiencing orphanhood and poverty, his unparalleled linguistic prowess, that gift of the desert allowing him to articulate profound truths, and his experience navigating vastly different social spheres.
Seeing life from the margins and the center.
All of these were essential, interconnected building blocks, forming the very foundation of the man he would become. It was like a curriculum of life, wasn't it? Designed by circumstance.
This really reinforces that powerful idea that life's early challenges aren't just obstacles to be overcome. Often they are pivotal, rigorous training grounds.
The best, maybe the hardest kind of school.
His ability to synthesize diverse experiences, to endure profound loss with patience and fortitude, to understand the plight of the vulnerable, and to articulate profound truths with such unparalleled eloquence, all stemmed directly, organically from these formative years.
You can see the direct lines.
Imagine the immense value of these traits for a leader who would not only unite diverse, often warring tribes, but also articulate a revolutionary unifying message, one that would challenge the established order and build an entirely new community.
The perfect toolkit, almost.
His deep personal experience of both hardship and honor fundamentally shaped his public impact, giving him both the moral authority and the practical understanding to lead.
Right.
For you, the listener, consider this.
Yeah, think about your own life.
When you look back at your own life, can you identify seemingly disparate or even difficult experiences that, maybe only in retrospect, perfectly prepared you for a significant role or challenge you later face?
Those moments that didn't make sense at the time.
How do even the toughest, most bewildering moments contribute, in ways we might not understand then, to who we ultimately become and the unique purpose we might serve?
So what incredible insights have we unpacked today in this deep dive? We've journeyed back, haven't we, to ancient Mecca and the serene yet challenging Arabian desert.
Covered a lot of ground.
We've seen how Muhammad's earliest years were not simple at all, but a complex, rich tapestry, woven with threads of profound vulnerability, the stark reality of repeated loss, yet incredibly also imbued with unexpected strength, unwavering love, and vital protection.
A real mix of light and shadow.
We discovered the immense, unconditional love of his grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, and the compassionate choice of his foster mother, Halima, which served as vital, emotional, practical shields for him.
Key figures at key moments.
And we explored in depth how that desert environment not only fortified his body, but gifted him with that unparalleled eloquence, that mastery of language that would become absolutely central to his life's mission, and the revelation he would later deliver.
This deep dive has truly revealed, I think, how these seemingly disparate, often challenging early experiences, from being born an orphan without inheritance to being treated as uniquely special and respected by one of the most powerful elders of his time.
That paradox again.
From the simple, grounded life of tending sheep in the vast desert to mastering the purest and most bountiful form of Arabic, how all of this culminated in a unique and meticulously designed preparation.
Not random chance, perhaps.
His early life was a powerful testament to how character isn't merely inherent, but is profoundly forged in the crucible of adversity. It vividly illustrates how even the most humble beginnings, marked by significant challenges, personal losses, can lay the absolutely essential groundwork for a destiny of immense historical impact and profound, compassionate leadership.
It's a story of transformation, really.
Of potential realized through trial, absolutely.
And as we close this deep dive, let's leave you with this final provocative thought, something to maybe mull over.
Food for thought.
If the most impactful leaders throughout history often emerge not from insulated privilege, but from unexpected, often challenging circumstances, navigating both hardship and unexpected forms of dignity and protection.
Like we saw here.
What does that tell us about the hidden potential in every single life story, especially those marked by early struggle and remarkable resilience?
What unseen preparations might be happening in your own journey right now? In the unexpected turns, the challenges, shaping you for a purpose you're yet to fully realize.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and join us next time on The Deep Dive.